Gleebop, Geebop Kim Green Hiller, a Gleebity Ba, Gleeby Ba, Gla, Glump. Oh, Gleebop. You probably haven't understood a word I've said since I came out here. Maybe you thought I was losing my mind. No, you didn't understand a word I said, but I would wager you understood my meaning. I came out, I introduced myself, flubbed a little bit, asked if we could go back, was told no, even found a way to curse on my TED Talk. But then I apologized. You understood my meaning, though you didn't know the words. The use of made-up words to communicate real ideas is a technique commonly used in theater rehearsal to help actors better connect to the ideas that they're trying to communicate and not get caught up on the words that are written to express it. It's also the basis for a large number of improv games created by Viola Spolin, who's known as the mother of improvisational theater. The truth is, the adoption of a simple improv mindset could help all of us communicate more effectively, more persuasively, and more compassionately. See, the improv mindset is literally born of this desire for collaborative communication against obstacles. 100 years ago, Viola Spolin was working at the Jane Addams Hull House here in Chicago. And she was charged with organizing activities for groups of immigrant children from around the world who came from different cultures and shared little or no common language. Her solution was to develop a series of deceptively simple games, improv games, which not only united these former strangers, but enabled them to put on plays comprised entirely of their own ideas. You may be familiar with the improv rule of yes and. Well, Viola never actually used that term, but the notion stems directly from her philosophies. It's also, I believe, one of the most misunderstood of the improv guidelines. Yes and doesn't mean I agree with everything you say. It means that I remember that we share a common goal, and in order to achieve that goal, we both need to be heard. We've all been in one of those meetings where everyone's charged with brainstorming. Someone puts forth an idea, and immediately everyone is ready to volunteer the flaw in that idea, the reason it cannot work. Oh, I'm so glad I thought of that. This is the reason your idea will never work. I've saved us all a great waste of time. But what if? What if, given that we share this common goal and we're trying to solve the same problem, what if you looked for the gift in the idea? And what if you said yes to that little gifty part, and then charged yourself with being the and, with applying your own creativity to solve that flaw that you so geniusly identified? You see, trust is earned when we can predict future behavior based on past behavior. So imagine being told no to every idea you put forth. Eventually, you'll stop sharing ideas, and then the team loses a talent. But of course, in order to yes and, you need to be actively listening. Because what you're doing when you see the gift in my idea is you're seeing my intention. There are actually 3 things we should be listening for when someone else is speaking: facts, feelings, and intentions. What's most often addressed are the facts. What's most often missed are the intentions. And those are strongly driven by feelings. Ask yourself, why is this person telling me in this moment what they're telling me? If I'm not listening for that, I'm missing the point entirely. And unless that emotional content is addressed, all your facts and figures are going to lead to chaos and confusion, not communication. This is true in business, in politics, in casual conversation, even with your own spouse. Why am I the only one who does laundry around here? Well, if that complaint is met with, well, I did the sheets last Wednesday, then we're in an argument about facts. What about listening for intent? Because it sounds to me like someone wants it known that they feel overworked and underappreciated. Maybe we both do. And if we address that, then we're in communication, not in a fight about data. There's a woman in my neighborhood whom I adore. Others push her away. They think she brags too much. I've heard what they hear. But I also know that this woman is outrageously fun and funny. She's loyal and thoughtful and generous. And for all of their bad-mouthing, I've never heard a single unkind word from her about anybody. So I put some thought into why she does this thing that the others find so off-putting, this braggadocious nature. I mean, she never compares herself to anybody else. She just needs you to know what's good about her. She needs approval. I don't know why. Maybe from her childhood? That's not really my business. I just give it to her when she asks. I have no problem yes-anding all of her amazing achievements, because believe me, they're amazing. And you know what happens next? She relaxes. We talk in the present moments. That fun part of her dominates, and we have an incredible time. I don't need to change her. I don't want to. But by addressing and understanding her intention, I'm better able to communicate and collaborate with her. It's active listening, and it's imperative to an improviser's survival. It's making the unconscious process of hearing the conscious process of listening. Listening with intention, for intention. And in order to do it, I must be fully present. Have you ever driven to work and you get there and realize you don't remember a thing from the drive over? You've driven this way so many times that today you saw nothing. You were not present on that ride. Well, we do that to people. We think we know them, so we think we know what they mean. We anticipate their intention. When they're speaking, we're merely preparing what we're going to say next. We're just waiting for them to stop talking so we can start talking. We're not actively listening. We're not present. And that's how accidents happen. Here's some good news. As we work on becoming better listeners, we also become better communicators. Improvisers are trained to make clearer their intention because we know they can be missed. I mean, my scene partner and I are up here on stage creating an imaginary world full of made-up names and invisible objects. We know that it's our responsibility to make sure that not only is our message delivered, but that it's received. So I must be clear, direct, and unafraid to repeat in a variety of ways my intention. And a lot of this is getting lost in this typed text world. It may take an extra moment or two, a few more strokes on the keyboard, but try making clear your intention. I recently sent an email out to the employees of my improv studio about a policy change I was hoping to make. In fact, it would result in more pay for the performers, but still, I explained it. I don't have to, but I like working with these people, and mutual trust is imperative to that. So I started with my why, and by the way, I ended by asking for their feedback. I don't just want their yes, I want their and. I want their creativity applied to the same problem I'm trying to solve. I tell my students that in improv, we never work alone. The best part of working on a team is that you don't have to know all the answers. Of course, for some of us, maybe the hardest part of that is admitting that we don't know all the answers. We do so many exercises in improvisation that demonstrate that together we create something that no one of us would have come up with individually. As a matter of fact, improvisers have a little ritual that signifies this. We pat one another on the back before we head onto stage, and we say, "I've got your back." This simple gesture is to remind me as I say it, and you as you receive and return it, that we share a common goal. And in order to succeed, we need to make each other look good. We need to believe that our creativity is the only path to success. I need to take your idea, that's my yes. And I need to add shine to it with my own creativity, that's my and. If I'm up there trying only to make my idea look good, if I'm shutting you down to show you up, then neither one of us looks good. And we create nothing. I teach this improv mindset to Fortune 500 companies, some of whom have adapted this got your back ritual. And not unlike Viola Spolin, I also teach children. At one point, I was teaching 450 kids a week. When I'm working in the corporate sector and when I'm working with children, my approach is what's known as applied improvisation. Applied improvisation is the application of the same principles that allow improvisers to get up on stage without a script and collaboratively create a scene in the moment to other goals. When I'm working with children, it's life skills. In one of our student performances, 2 second graders were on stage performing the alphabet game. That's a game where every line of the scene has to begin with the subsequent letter of the alphabet. So the first line of the scene has to begin with a word that starts with A, and the last with a word that starts with Z. Or if you're more of a numbers person, it's a 26-line scene. Anna and Lily were up there, and it was going great. They had a cohesive storyline. They were 2 friends lost at the zoo. Boy, they'd made it all the way to S. It was going swimmingly. When suddenly Anna froze up. She became wide-eyed and panicked-looking. Now, this isn't uncommon. I've seen it so many times before, and often the scene partner will lean over and whisper their idea of what should be said next. Like, in this case, it might have been, stop worrying about being lost. Check out those cute monkeys. But instead, Lily leaned over, put her hand on her friend's shoulder, and she simply whispered, "I've got your back." And Anna took a breath, thought of the perfect thing to say, and the scene went on without a hitch, while their improv teacher wept in the wings. Lily was demonstrating that day that through an improv mindset, she was learning to be a good friend. A good friend doesn't tell you their idea of what you should do. Quit the job, leave the guy. No, a good friend says, "I'm here for you. I've got you," while you find your way and make your choice. On the first day of one of my youngest classes, I asked returning students if they could explain to the newest students what improv was. 5-year-old Charles raised his hand and he said, "Improv is when you go on stage as a team to tell a story, and if you make a mistake, it's okay, because everybody's there to make each other look good." Charles was showing at 5 years old that through an improv mindset, he was learning that that's how a team should work. And someday when it's Charles in charge, that's a team I would want to be on. The truth is, we're all improvisers. Every conversation we have is improvised. We don't have a script. Every social interaction, every negotiation, every debate is happening in the moment, in real time, improvised. If we can apply ourselves to being fully present, actively listening for the gifts that we can yes and, reminding one another of our shared and common goal, then we're going to create something. We're going to solve problems. Improvisers know this, and that's why they practice and prepare skills, not scripts. They work to strengthen their listening and their communication muscles. They work to develop the improv mindset that they know will lead to effective collaborative communication, because they want every interaction to be a success, to be meaningful and fruitful. Don't you?